and welcome aboard the Tabletop Express. I am Chris. This is Anthony. No, he's there. He's over there.
Hello.
And we are your co-conductors here on the Tabletop Express tonight. We may be joined by Ryan later tonight. We're not sure, but you got us tonight to kick off our April edition of Call Aboard. Anthony, what is Call Aboard for those who maybe have never watched an episode of Call Aboard before?
First of all, shame on you. I'm just kidding. Call Aboard is our live call-in show where that's right, you, the viewer, can actually become part of the show. Nope, it is not magic. It is just technology. You can join us maybe on stream. If you don't want to put your face on, you can just talk or, just tell us in the chat. But you can call and tell us what you played in April, what got on your table. Update from Ryan. He is putting the kiddos to bed. I know the feeling.
Yeah, that is a common feeling here. I am just going to remind everybody, of course, this is Call Aboard. And because this is Call Aboard, there's a really important thing that you're able to do. You are able to call in using call-aboard.com. That's call-aboard.com. I'm going to put that in the chat for everyone so you know exactly where to go. Here on Call Aboard, we love to hear what you have to say, what you've played. And this particular month, that is what it's all about. We are kicking off May with our special episode that we do every month, which is looking back at the past month. We normally do these at the end of the previous month. Timing just kind of worked out this way.
I was going to say, we're kicking off May. May's a week old already, but that's okay.
Yeah. We're kicking off with a look back. One of the ways that we do this, however, just as a note, is we are going to bring up, if you call in, games that you are talking about on BoardGameGeek.com. Now, a very important thing, Ryan always does this, and I don't, so I got to log out of my Board Game Geek before I do this, because you don't need to see all my scores. It's not important.
Eek the geek.
But let's just show you a little bit. This is Board Game Geek. You may have heard of it. What we're going to do is we're going to bring up your game, take a look at it, and look at some photos and talk about it with you. So call-aboard.com, call in, be part of the show. And with that, Anthony, I actually want to mention a game to kick us off that we had a chance. And Ryan says, show them the scores. And no, I don't want to show my scores. I don't. I'm going to keep them private just in case we end up with anything that we're going to talk about or review in the future. But I want to talk about a game that I've been itching to play, and I had a chance to play it with you. And it is a game that I was pretty excited to try out. That was Invincible, the hero building game. This is a game designed by Kevin Spack, publisher was Direwolf Games or Lucky Duck Games or Skybound Tabletop, depending on when we're talking about this one. But it is a game that I was itching to play. And let's talk about this one a little bit. I have watched the show a little bit, but I'm not a super fan. So I want to point that out for people. This is a television show for sure. I've heard the comparisons to The Boys. I've been told I would like it. When it came down to it, never played. But what's interesting to me about this game is, you are building in the game and building a kind of a series of cards to be able to use. The cards are less the focus than it's actually these little wooden cubes. It's really a cube building game more than, say, a deck building game or anything along those lines.
Yeah, it certainly does not have that traditional deck building feel, because you're not running through and playing, all the possible cards you can play for your hand. So it is kind of a step back from that, but it is an interesting sort of hand management resource allocation thing at that point too, because to add stuff to your bag, you are going to have to discard cards. So it's like it's kind of like Summoner Wars, where you burn cards to build up magic to bring new stuff out. So you are kind of weighing, which ones do you want to kind of sacrifice for a little bit of a boost in that color, or ones that you want to hold on to because you want to actually play them down to your character.
It was tough too. We only did the intro one.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to say we were ever going to lose it, but I can already see the more scenarios we played through, how challenging it was going to get. I mean, when you look at this board, you're building out that power on the left-hand side is your character's ability that kind of you start the game with. But the rest of the stuff you're going to get down and have choices to replace. You're able to have up to 6 cards down at a single time. But some of them have some neat abilities, like when you do a certain thing, you're actually going to get another cube, which is maybe powering up actually another type of card. And that could be really impactful. There's a thwart action in this game, which is not very much needed in that first scenario that we did. But I can see, similar to Marvel Champions, needing to use thwart quite a bit as you go on. And we had a pretty simple goal, just punch, 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 pow, pow, pow in our intro scenario. But nonetheless, it still felt like it was coming down to the final few turns, like one or two things going poorly, and we would have been in trouble.
Yeah,
and
as a co-op, again, for just the first play, it had the emotional roller coaster that I enjoy, where it's not super easy, it's not super hard, it's kind of a mix in between with some ups and downs, and that's kind of how it felt. And I was trying to describe the game as it's like this and this. And of course, you say deck building, you think of things that we already talked about, but it's not really like that. It's certainly not like a Dominion or a Clanker even, but it's sort of like, in a way, it's kind of like Quacks combined with like Marvel United, where you're moving to these different locations to, do goals, usually fighting bad guys, but also like protecting citizens who are going to be in danger throughout the game. And so it has that feel, but then Quacks, because you're pulling from the bag, what we didn't mention is there's black colored cubes, which are wild, which is awesome that they're wild. But if you hit 5 of them pulled, you quote unquote bust. Which again is not the end of the world, but it certainly does put a little bit of a damper on your plans. But it certainly had that Quacks feel to it, like, don't want to pull one more. I've already got 4 of those black cubes out. And I really like that. It was a good balance of those mechanics.
Yeah, you could see that on this particular one here, on that airlift card and that convenient creation piece. The black cubes are there. That again, because they're wild, incredibly powerful. But I like that comparison. I feel like it also it flowed really well. Like, it didn't feel too long. It was kind of, each move kind of went along pretty well, even though we were kind of making decisions in real time together. Like, okay, I'm doing this, but no one could really, and I think it comes up sometimes, no one could really take control in that moment or kind of run the show. Like, we played with your friend who brought the game, right? And he knew the first scenario. We didn't necessarily need to do fort as much. And I think that was about the only piece of information.
Sure.
Other than that, we made those decisions very strategically throughout, and we were taking our time to make the right decisions, and it still played in under an hour. So it was pretty smooth for me.
Yeah, that was good pace. It was exciting play. And, all signs point to the fact that we would enjoy future plays of it with the other scenarios that are involved. Definitely was enticing to get back to it. So I'm glad we got this one to the table finally. Same with you. I have heard a lot about it. Although I feel like I say this every week about a super like pop culture-y thing. I've never seen the show. Guys, trust me, I do watch TV and movies. I just happen to not watch the ones that have been coming up a lot recently. Okay, it's not about The Boys. I watched The Boys. I've rewatched The Boys and Gen V. Like, I watched those ones. Just haven't watched Invincible yet. It's not that I'm avoiding it. I just haven't watched it.
No, it's fair. I don't hold this one against you at the same level. I will joke I hold Star Trek or whatever, which there was a great comment after one of our top 20 videos last month where someone said, well, that's it. I'm done with your, I'm like, all right, cool. We'll catch you up on the important stuff. I don't think this one's important, but again, let me point out, by the way, it says Invincible, the hero building game, not deck building. It built building mechanics in, and to me, that is exactly why it's the hero building game. I thought they did a good job with that, and it does say, by the way, best 3 to 4. We played it with 3, and I thought it was a good number, so I do want to point that out. But yeah, that was the one I wanted, the first one I wanted to bring up, because again, I just thought that was a really great experience overall, and it had been on my wish list. Plus, I felt it was a solid game. It's an 8.0 here on BGG as well, according to what I'm seeing here, with a decent amount of ratings. So, I mean, 480. It's enough for that to be a pretty good cumulative score.
Cool.
So, that would be my first one.
Well, the first one I'll bring up is, kind of just going to piggyback on this, not anything that has to do with theme, but it was the game that we played right after this one, which is the Guild of Merchant Explorers. Now, I have to say, I have been crushing hard on this game the last couple of months. Like, if you look at my BGG stats, not BGG, Board Game Arena stats, of the pie chart, it's like, but that's like almost all I play. And so I was excited that you brought this over, because I wanted to see the physical thing again. I have played it physically before, but it's been predominantly online. And I don't remember who, someone brought this up either last week or the week before, maybe both. But there's this thing about how you play a game too much on BGA or online, it alters your perception of it and perhaps your experience with it when it's in person, when it's in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of felt that way about this upon our physical play. It feels really fiddly having to physically put these cubes down, as opposed to obviously just having it done for you on the screen. That being said, I still really, really, really do enjoy this game. It's just so funny that it hit me because of how much I've played it online. And again, it rang a bell. I know people have mentioned this in the Discord before about certain games on BGA. But this is a really fun exploration game where it's kind of like Trails of Tucana, but definitely up a level, not in terms of complexity per se, but just the more stuff that you can do. But essentially, you have your own little board and you have these cubes in your color. You're going to flip over a card that everyone is going to deal with. It's some kind of terrain type, and everyone puts cubes on their little map according to what that card was. It's 2 grassland, 2 desert, what have you. And then you'll go through those cards, like 5 of them, but every round you'll add in a new exploration card that's unique to you, which is awesome. And it breaks those normal cards. You can do a lot of other stuff with that. A lot of things to explore, getting some treasure, discovering villages, trade routes, all the stuff. And you have the upgraded bits, which was awesome. But again, added to the fiddliness of the cube thing. Because at the end of every round, you can put cubes off the board, and that gets a little tough.
At least the upgraded bits were easy to grab, because the cubes, I think the fiddly bit with this game is it's the cubes. Because if you look, I'll see if we have any better ones in here. Yeah, like if you see these cubes, like when you're trying to pick them up, because the biggest thing is you discover those towns, those villages, I should say, and they give you new points to go off of, but then you've got to pick up all those cubes. So it's a really neat concept. And ultimately, I still do like playing this in person for what it's worth. But I agree it can feel fiddly, but I still like doing it. I like the different maps that they've created for it. I think it's a very creative piece. So for me, I'm a big fan of this one, and I'm glad I own it. I actually want more maps, more than anything. That's kind of what I want. I don't know how
production, right? There's double-sided. Every map has 2 sides to it that are all slightly different, depending on how complex you want to get. But it's not like it adds in things that completely change the game. It's more about features on the map that maybe aren't on other maps. So
this is my one complaint that I tell people with this game is great photo, by the way, by Stephanie. I mispronounced your last name. I'm sorry. But my biggest issue is, man, and again, I can replace the money, but these monies, which just different numbers on the back end of what, like, just no, like, different size
Yeah.
them, do
Different
little
size.
tweak, little
Have
tweak.
have the numbers on both sides.
Yeah,
There's
some
no
don't make
point.
me flip it over to figure out the damn number, right? Like that's my biggest complaint about this game. I really enjoy it. I like it a lot. And I'm with you. It's a solid game. Guild of Merchant Explorer, by the way, Matthew Dunstan, Brett J. Gilbert. Matthew Dunstan has, for those who don't know, just to bring this up, if you say, I've heard that name before. Well, yes, you have. One of the ones, and it was going to be one of my official mentions, but I want to point out here, one of the ones that Matthew Dunstan's behind is actually 52 Realms. 52 Realms is a fantastic print and play. But if you look at a bunch of the adventure game series, like you look at all those adventure games. You've got Aquamarine, which I know is a favorite on the Discord. You've got a wide variety here that he's been involved with. And again, there's no way you haven't seen one of these. You've seen at least one by him. If I scroll through this. So if you say Matthew Dunstan, what has he done? Well, here it is. And I don't know I've seen Happy Homes in stores. That's another one I'm like, always been intrigued by. I've seen it on the shelf. So one of the ones, by the way, the expansions, which this is helpful, that we didn't get a chance to play, but just to show people the variety. Like this is one that they came out with, and it has like this additional piece on the board.
Yeah, it's a sneaky way to make like not a completely new board or map, just a couple extra columns. I like it. It's a good idea.
We're still, by the way, putting out. Saw this as Barnes and Noble for 50% off, waiting for it to drop a little, and I think that's a good call. Let it drop a little bit.
$25 is a good price for this game. Because you own it, and I played on BGA nonstop. I don't need to own it, but that is a really good price for this game.
Oh yeah,
you get a lot of play in that.
No, I agree. But again, Guild of Merchant Explorers, definitely one to check out. It looks good. Aldrich, AEG. I just say I never read that whole name out loud. That's AEG to me, right? Great game that they have made here, and again, solid score for. I just don't know if it's sold. Like I always wonder if it's sold as well, because like I felt like I never looked at the sales numbers on this one, but I feel like if it sold more, there'd be more maps for it, and instead we haven't heard too much about it.
I don't know that it had the most attention-grabbing cover or name of a game. Like I think that's why it kind of flew under the radar for me at first, because it just I don't know. I don't know what the game's about by looking at that. Not that you do from covers all the time.
In all fairness, I don't know if the title screams much to me either.
Yeah.
The Guild of Merchant Explorers doesn't.
It's kind of bland looking. It's not very colorful. It is what it is. But then that makes it, a hidden gem in my eyes. So that's even better.
I think that is fair to say, called a hidden gem. One thing I try to do on this show, Anthony, is in particular, I've been trying to mention at least one BGA game that I've played, a game that I've discovered that's interesting, and I wanted to mention one, and it's I believe a game from 2023, and I'm going to see if it's on here. Well, it says 2020. No, it's 2025. It is new. Cool. I thought it was older for some reason, but it is newer. And it looks like it's coming out this year. I've been playing this on BGA, so I just wanted to mention it because it's a simple card game. I've had a chance to play this, I believe, very much with Marcel on the Discord more than anyone. But this is designed by Jeremy Partenico and Christelle Partenico. You got a duo there. Publisher Subverti. The general concept of this game is it's this tactical game where you are essentially expanding your pond. Your pond is not very large, by the way. And when you're expanding your pond, you're taking a card from a generic pool of cards that are out, right? But you're flipping them over. You're making a choice, right? And then you're swapping them with your cards. So now your opponent, when they're going to that same pool, has more strategic choices to make. So as we actually look at this game, again, not many photos of it, but you could see like a certain color is going to equal a point. A certain icon is going to equal a certain amount of points. Very straightforward scoring, but you're pulling them from this collection of cards. So you could see, for example, and I don't know which is the set of cards that they were pulling like from, which is like the main pond, right? But essentially when I'm flipping over one of my cards, because when you start the game, you don't actually know what all your cards are. I'm wondering if there's any. This is probably the best example. I'll see if I can zoom in on this a little. There we go. So yeah. So essentially you don't know what your cards are, and you're gonna flip one over and take one from the pile. And as you're going along, you start to get a sense of what's here, but you're always from time to time gonna have a chance to make a choice where you're risking getting rid of something good because you have all your stuff flipped over. So you're making that choice too. I'm gonna flip this over and then I'm gonna change it into the pond with this and build my own pond to be the most high scoring. Marcel describes it here because Marcel is the one I've been playing it with. Game is delightful and easy to learn. Fair amount of luck of the draw, then playing the hand well. So I agree with that. There's a ton of luck in this, but it's just a cute, kind of delightful little game. Plays so quick. When it says it's a 15-minute game, it is. If you don't like luck, you're not going to like it because it isn't. You completely needing a ton of luck to do well in the game. But that said, it was just a lot of fun. So I wanted to mention it because I do think it's fun to mention these Board Game Arena gems that are, good to get out there and play. And again, for me, I'm not necessarily rushing to own it, but it's what I recommend anyone try out on Board Game Arena because I think it plays incredibly well there. And again, it was a surprise. It kind of just came up because I believe I got challenged to a game of it. And then since then, I think I've played I got to check, but I guarantee you I've played, let's see. I'll tell you all how many I have. I've got at least 5. I haven't updated this completely in a few days. So I have at least 5 plays of it. So, but pretty cute, pretty simple concept, but yeah.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna find on BGA. If you just go ahead and do a big scroll through the whole library, there is a ton of stuff there that you've probably never heard of before. At least I haven't.
I think one of the best ways to find that, by the way, is that you try to do an alphabet challenge and you find yourself just picking a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcel says thinks we have 4 to 5 plays, but we want to do a 3-player spell. I want to point that out. That's a good point. This is a 2 to 4 player game, and it says best of 3. And I've never played it at 3. So, and Ryan agreeing. Alphabet challenge, best way to find it.
Yeah, buddy.
It is true. So yeah, again, that's my Board Game Arena. I just figure I'd jump right into a Board Game Arena recommendation since you mentioned how good Merchant Explorers plays on there, which I agree, but I don't want to steal your thunder on that one. So
I have one. I just realized I have one small complaint about the implementation of it on BGA.
What's that?
Pretty flawless, more or less. But something that seems like a really just kind of blatant error. It's just they spell the word mountain wrong. So when the mountain card comes out, it says Montaigne, and I can't believe it still says Montaigne.
It's
not that I've reported it or given feedback or anything besides what I just told you and what I internally say to myself. God forbid to actually do anything about it, but yeah, I just thought that was funny.
Oh, that's funny. Doesn't affect the gameplay at all then.
No, it does not. It does not. Just
I'm intrigued, by the way, with this publisher. What else? So it's funny enough. We've reviewed this. On the channel. People can check it out. But this is the same one that did Biomos, which we have a video about. I'm happy to share the link to that. In addition to that, let's see what else they have done. We've got Revolution, Climato, and Dedale. So a few games on here. Revolution doesn't have too much love, so I'm wondering how new this one is. It's a 2018 one. It must not have got too much out there, but maybe someone has heard of it. But yeah, so a few games from them on there. But yeah, interesting experience. I recommend people try it on BGA for sure.
Cool. Just a reminder, folks, if you do want to chime in and let us know what you played last month, you can let us know in the chat, or you can go to call-aboard.com, not the word dash, the symbol dash, not a hyphen, dash. There you
Yes.
go, it's right there. But I just remembered another one that I'll bring up, because I mentioned how the whole thing with playing something on BGA kind of takes away from playing it in real life, and other things that just have, you don't know until you kind of think about it. Something else we talk a lot about is what sort of feels like the arbitrary age recommendation on most board games, right? And, we've said it's kind of an impossible number to just nail and say in any authoritative way, because everybody's different. And,
Yep.
what one 8-year-old might be able to handle, another 8-year-old maybe can't, or 14-year-old, or vice versa. But my son just turned 6, and I taught him Floriferous the other day,
Ooh.
which I believe is a 14 and up age recommendation. And I don't agree with that, not only because he was able to play it and he's only 6, but it's certainly not a theme issue. It's about flowers. It's not like it's mature content or anything like that. I get that it's a strategic kind of game, but it is not heavy by any means. I think it plays like 20 minutes, and it's essentially just collecting cards. So yeah, I taught this to him, and with not too much help, he beat me, of course. And we played again with my wife, and then I won. Take that, family. But yeah, we played it back to back, and I forgot how pretty this game is and how kind of elegant it is. Very appropriate for this time of year, right? Spring in the air and blooming, all that. Essentially, just make this grid, and it's going to change based on how many players there are. And you start, on the left side, and when it's your turn, you can choose any of the cards that are in the first column. Everyone does that and then puts their piece in the spot that they took the card from. And so now you're in front of the next column, but the order may have changed, because whoever's on top is going to be first, next pick. So kind of like a king domino, queen domino sort of thing, back and forth. And so you do that all the way across the grid, and that's the end of day 1, round 1. You set up the grid again, and you go back the other way, and you do it one more time. So there's 3 rounds. That's it. All you're really doing is collecting cards to get points in different ways. Essentially, most of the cards are flowers. There's, I think, 5 species of flower and 5 different colors. One of each. So there's a purple tulip, purple daisy, etc. All that stuff. And then there's the statues that are not too common, but they're just like a set collection thing. And there's also these arrangements that have like 3 requirements in them, but you can also get partial points if you have only 1 or 2 of the things that are on there. So you're not really getting punished a lot in this game. That's kind of the whole thing. You're going to go through the cards and try to get the ones that you want to score your points the best. Along the top, there's some like kind of public goals, another way to get points. And then you can have these desire cards, which are kind of the smaller ones along the bottom, that are yet another way to just give you points. And that's it. Like I said, it's really fast. You can't, hold on to something too much, because once you go past that column, anything that wasn't taken is gone. You're not going to see it again.
I think something you described is the reason it works so well, because there's a very simple concept of how the stuff scores, right? Like the set collection, the general scoring is simple. It doesn't overcomplicate itself. It is a very straightforward game.
Yeah.
So once you grasp that, it's a visual game that you don't need to necessarily read words to be able to play.
There's a little 1-player card that has pretty much all the icons you need. Like I said, there's 5 different types of flowers. A couple of the flower icons can look a little similar, for sure. But, there's not a lot of reading involved, to say that.
Yeah, and I think that's it though. I think that's why it works so well. And again, you look at this game and Floriferous, which is one and Eduardo and Steve Finn always do a great job. I love Pencil First games as a whole.
Yeah, that's a great line, right? You have the Herbaceous as well. I think Sunset Over Water is also part of that.
Sunset Over Water is one. The only one that didn't land for me was Delicious, to be honest. But
Actually, I haven't
everything
played that one.
other than Delicious, for be completely honest, like every one of our games I've enjoyed, and they're relaxing. I feel like for the most part, they're definitely, well, they have not necessarily a lack of strategy. I just find them as to be more relaxing games as a
Right.
whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've had
like most other these little card games, there's enough to do on your turn. You do want to pay attention to what your opponents are doing. If they have early on, they get a card that says they're going to get 2 points for every yellow flower they collect. Maybe don't let them get every yellow flower along the way. But other than that, it's really simple.
You mentioned Herbaceous. I just wanted to bring it up because Herbaceous.
Yeah. I know you have the Tiny Epic version of this, right?
I have the small version of this one. It was a review copy that got sent to us.
I like this game too. This is a really good one.
I mean, Herbaceous, again, similar kind of vibe though, with generally simple set collection and other things going on, scoring the. And I've mentioned it before, Anthony, but it's re-implemented as Herbaceous Sprouts, which I really like, and I won't get rid of my copy of Herbaceous Sprouts. I really like Herbaceous Sprouts. So when you talk about this, I think I've just generally enjoyed it. And Danielle asking, have we tried Sunrise at the Studio? So we actually have a copy of Sunrise at the Studio. I've had a chance to play it. I need to make a video about it. You guys got to try it as well. They were nice enough to send us some stuff not that long ago. So it is one I want to talk about more, but yes, Sunrise at the Studio. Let's showcase this one because it's pretty, first and foremost.
I don't doubt it.
Sunrise at the Studio. It says best of 2 to 3. I really enjoyed this solo, and I don't know. And Danielle, I know you put a video at it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. But Sunrise at the Studio is, you talk about relaxing. Like you can see the vibe. The art style is that same similar style, really simple in terms of this. You see the stuff. There's a lot of
it's very like still life kind of a vibe.
But yeah, you're making pottery in this game, and if you look at, again, I love the art in this game, but collecting those resources to do it, I love these wooden cubes. So if you see these wooden cubes, you can see they've got like the little notch on them, like, so it's not just they made this slight little tweak on them. This was nice. It's one that I need to try with both you and Ryan at the 2 to 3, because again, I've tried it at solo and I liked it. Danielle pointing out, by the way, she liked it, felt slightly more complex than the other Pencil First. Yeah, and I would agree with that assessment. It is a little, it feels like a step up. Not a lot.
There's room for that for sure. So that's, that makes sense.
But yeah, you're using that resource cube. Using that resource cube kind of along the way to kind of track your progress. So it's neat. We're gonna play like that scene in Ghost. Wow. Okay.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, I'm glad she mentioned that one, because that is, again, out of the more recent games that I've seen from them, this one I really liked. And I do think, again, delightful. I really liked it solo, like I said. So it says best at 2 to 3. I'll be intrigued. I still think I might like it best solo because it did feel that relaxing. They also have, just so you know, if you look at their games, and I always recommend, if you like a game from someone, go on the BGG and then kind of take a look at what else is in there, right? Because you may be surprised. I've always wanted to try Mall Peak from them. Never got a chance to try it. And then Skull Hollow is another one I've never got to play, but they have a solo game which is super relaxing called Snowfall Over Mountains, which is which is a solo best at one for obvious reasons. It's designed for one, where you're essentially going up from your cabin, you're following paths, you're looking for animals, and you're finding plants amongst the winter snow. And as it describes here, enjoy the solitude of a calm walk through the snow. I mean, it's definitely.
I don't think I've heard of this. Just came out. Is that 2024?
This is 2024. Yes.
I don't think I knew this game existed. That's very intriguing.
Yeah, it's a very relaxing experience, to say the least.
Okay.
It's not gonna hit for me, and I'll probably save some deeper thoughts on this for probably, we should talk about some of their games and package it up because they've got a lot of variety in their stuff. I don't think this is as deeply strategic. It has that feeling of a lot of those other ones, though, that I've liked a lot, that are just kind of smaller, don't take too long to play, and they're nice to easily carry with me.
Sure.
Right? It is not for Northwood good. You know what I mean? It's not that level, but very few are for me on the solo level. But it's enjoyable. I think again, the complexity is low. It's a 2. So
cool.
But yeah. We went through a little bit of a journey through Pencil First Games there. So thanks everybody. That was fun.
There you go.
Remember, by the way, if you do want to be part of the show, let us know. Call in, call-aboard.com and let us know what games you've been playing. Anthony, you mentioned that game, and I didn't officially mention. I mentioned my BGA game. The other game I wanted to mention, and I just want to make sure I've got it right here, is, and you're gonna laugh that I mentioned this, but my son got I have 2 games I played with my son recently that are more in this. They're not the games you would think I'd want to talk about, but I want to mention them here. So 1, 2-prong thing. 1, my son got and I'm not a fan of this game to begin with. I'm still not a fan of this game, but I want to make the world knows this because it's essentially a mean version of Uno, which I'm just mentioning because he got it because the Easter Bunny decided to bring him so it's Uno Show 'em No Mercy. And let me point out the one thing that I actually did like about this game. I thought the game ended quicker, so I did want to mention that. It did feel like it ended quicker because it was meaner, because you can lose if you have 25 plus cards, you're eliminated and you're done, and you're out of the game. I normally don't like that, but in this case, it happens very easily to people because there's literally cards that will make you draw like 10 cards.
Oh my God. I was just about to say, what is there, a draw 10? I swear to God. And I never heard of that before. That's nuts.
Yeah. So Uno Show 'em No Mercy comes up right here. It was in 2023. I've only seen it on the shelves recently, but let me see if I can show you. Like, here's an example. +6 plus it's a wild. But there's that +10. Wow. See that mother right there? It's a +10.
We were just talking about this at we had a traveling boards event last week at a school, at a homeschool facility, and we were talking about Monopoly with a couple people.
Yep.
And we were talking about how they came out with the expansions for Monopoly, and it was like, what is the point of this? And we were theorizing that it was kind of like they were almost cannibalizing themselves. Not that there's any it's Monopoly, right? But all these house rules that have been ingrained in generations, they just took those concepts and made them expansions, right? So it's like, you put the money in the middle when you pay taxes, and then you land on free parking and you take it. Well, that's not really in the rules, but you guys have been doing it for decades. Here's a box now that tells you how to do it. I'm just assuming that's what it says. I don't have it. I'm just assuming. But this triggers that for me because there's a house rule in Uno that people play. You keep drawing cards until you can get one that you can play, which is ridiculous.
The fact that you mentioned this, there's a bunch of these cards have a thing that you're going to have to draw till you'll get it. So I think, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong if they want to be that serious about Uno, but I think with the wild, you say the color and they draw until they get that color. They draw until they get that color, but they don't play it down. They just draw till they get that color. That's why someone can easily go over 25. You can easily have a ton of people eliminated. It's more fun. I actually enjoyed this as much as I don't enjoy Uno anymore because there's better, simple card games.
You don't like the one that spins around and shoots the cards at you?
No. that
Uno in your face.
That gives me a heart attack. to say the least. The other thing I wanted to point out was, and honestly, this was more on the traveling boards adjacent side, because for people to know, Anthony and I do run events, and we've had a great time doing this, and it's been a ton of fun. One of the things that had happened to Anthony, we had got sent a copy there of Doomlings, and I had played that, so I just wanted to note, like, I played it with all these expansions, and I think I kind of get why people like that game, because there's a lot going on in it, and it's one of these things that for me, I played it, and outside of the setup, which can be kind of irritating, I understand why this game is kind of out there and popular amongst a lot of my kids my son age. It's not my favorite game, but it's like they added this collection piece to it where you can get these shinies, but they don't really matter, and it's just more stuff. And so I wanted to mention this one just because they were kind enough to have had sent us something at one point, and quite frankly, I finally did play it, and I kind of understood it. I got the vibe, and I got why the kids liked it. There's enough variety. Like, their packs are like, they got 20 million expansion packs. So you think about it that same way. Like, we talk about games that sometimes give a modular way to play. That's all Doomlings does, is here's a base game and we're dropping 20 million modulars. So I wanted to mention it because I did get a chance to play it. I've pushed the game aside before, and boom, it is what it is. And I honestly, yeah, I'm not going to rush to play it, but my kid wants to play it. Cool. So I want to mention those two together just because it was like, but that Uno, let me just tell you, that Uno, holy cow, like, I actually enjoyed that Uno. Not this Uno. No, not that Uno. So, by the way, Marcel pointing out, Doomlings was a fun little game, but I'm not in the collect at all. And I agree on that. That was one of my issues where it's like, but I don't think you have to in a game like that, because none of them are actually like incredibly important. You could do the base thing off the shelf at a Target or something, or wherever you buy your. I don't think it's going to be. It's in the board game shops too, I'm sure, because again, it's popular. But yeah, I want to mention those, even though they're not like our hobby games, just because from time to time I do play a non-hobby game.
A game's a game.
Yeah. By the way, I never looked at this before, but Uno is a commercial version of Crazy Eights, the public domain card with a standard deck of playing cards, which obviously is true, but I never think about it that way, which that's really all Uno is.
I bet the person who invented Crazy Eights is pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, probably. Any other game you want to mention here tonight? I will remind call-board.com. I'd love to hear in chat what you've been playing, folks. And then I will have some thoughts about also updates about some stuff that will be coming up on the channel in the next few months as well that we can get into. But Anthony, any other games that jump to mind for you?
I'll briefly talk about another game. It's certainly not one that has been avoided or not talked about on the channel by any means. But again, thanks to the magic of BGA, I've been playing it a lot more lately. And I know that it's pretty popular in the Discord as well. I think Tyler likes this game a lot too. And that's The White Castle. Again, no stranger to this game, but I'm finally getting a little bit better at getting like a pretty good combo every now and again, because that's really where the satisfaction comes in of this game. And again, I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but this is basically a dice placement type of game where you'll take a dice from either side of these 3 different colored bridges, and then add it to all these worker spots that are all around the castle itself. And then outside the castle, there's training grounds and the bridges themselves that you take the dice from. You can put gardeners there as well. You have your own personal board that can build up. Also, there is a lot of stuff going on in this game. And it just, again, it's obviously very crunchy, but it's also very elegant, and it's so tight. You only have 9 turns total in this game.
The expansion adds turns. I haven't played it. I just know the expansion adds like another round to the game. I think it's a round, but I haven't played it. I just know.
Yeah, it's like that. You're always chasing the dragon in this because you always feel like if I just had one more turn, I could finally do this, that, and the other thing. But man, It's tight not only in the amount of turns, but your resources are very valuable in this. You really got to spend things wisely. Money can do some stuff for you, but it's not everything. And the setup is variable as well in terms of your starting cards, your starting resources, but additionally how the cards are set up. Because as you add pieces to the board there, if you put your pieces up the castle, you can then get those cards and they become part of your personal board as well. And those are set up differently every time. There could be a spot where there's two orange dice spots that do really two awesome things, and if so, people are probably going to take that one pretty often and pretty early on. So you also want to try to manage where you are on the turn track, on the passage of time, because that's going to determine turn order for the following rounds. Even though there's only 3 turns per round, again, if you plan accordingly, you can kind of almost sneak in these like half turns between rounds, because if you have your gardeners present under bridges at the end of a round, you have the opportunity to trigger that effect again. If you can afford it, right? Because a lot of them are, okay, you go here and you can pay 3 coins to do this warrior action.
Money is tight though.
I did it. And then it comes around again at the end of the round. You're like, hey, you want to pay 3 coins to do that again? Oh, you only have 1 coin. Womp womp. Curse you, White Castle.
Money is very tight in this game. The thing that I will say about this, I like this game a lot. I have struggled to do the online version of it because I need to play it in real time. So I can't do I do not do well with this asynchronously. We've talked about this before, but there's certain games that they play great online and they play great for asynchronous. Yeah. But like even now, like I've been playing Tiny Towns and I'm using the notes feature on Board Game Arena for one of the first times ever, because I'm trying to remember what was I going for again.
Oh, like, okay.
I'm jumping back in and trying to figure out. So I need to play some of those things in that real time to do it effectively. This is one of those games because I'm just not good at it. And I wasn't great at it to begin with. Like I enjoyed it, but I wasn't great at it. But
no, I feel like I'm enjoying it more. I'm enjoying I feel less intimidated about sitting down to play it now.
Yep.
Which is something that comes into play for me sometimes with heavier games. I don't know. What is this weight anyway?
Let's see. The weight on this one's 3.02.
Okay. Yeah. That's usually
which is medium
threshold
by BGG scales.
Right.
It's interesting too. And I want to point out, by the way, because Marcel, I know very often calls in, but he has not a lot of gaming going on this last month. High quality, not too much worth mentioning, but he is playing Legacy of You. I want to mention, because we've talked about Legacy of You before. Legacy of You is from a designer I love, Shem Phillips, artist Sam Phillips. They've got some good stuff coming out, and I did enjoy this game. It was just one of those games that, man, after I beat it once, I didn't feel the need to go back, but I was glad I played it. It was that type of experience, and I'll be interested what Marcel's experience is. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm going to be careful what I pick here. I'll just keep it a tight shot, but the concept of this one is just so cool, of just trying to, you've got to stay ahead of the wave with your boat, but you also got to be defending against these invaders. And the more invaders come out, the harder it is. So yeah, I really liked the experience of this one. I think Ryan felt like he solved it. And I think that was one of the large things. And I beat it. Because it's 5 wins or 7 wins. I think it's 7 wins does it. But I know I got through it and got the victory. So there was more things to discover. But the system itself is fantastic of discovering new things coming out. Ryan best described at times a game that could have taken more risks, or maybe taken a few more, done a little bit more. And I don't disagree with it. Yeah. Marcel's right. 7 wins or 7 losses.
Whichever happens first is the end of the campaign. Okay.
Yeah. When you lose, it gives you something to help you though.
Okay. Well, I hope so. Yeah.
So every time you lose, it's helping you a little bit more. It's randomized order, so because you're going to shuffle those cards. And the thing, I wonder if there's a photo. Let me actually see, because one of the things I love about this game, people are going to laugh at me for this, but I just want to see if it's shown. Oh, here it is. It's not just that the components are nice, but look at that storage. Like, you got your history because there's going to be cards that are removed. Everything is so easy to package up and put away. Yeah. So
unlike the White Castle, which is a whole like sub game.
Yeah, yes, that's true. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this one, Marcel. I really like this one quite a bit. Like I said at the time, I think I went back to liking Hadrian's Wall more because I just can play it on repeat. But I stand by what I said. As an experience, this was a solid experience for me. So I want more of this style of what they did. And I know they've come out with other stuff, and I have to check some of it out. There's a lot of games coming out, and Anthony, one of the things I want to mention too, and I think this might actually come as a surprise to you because Ryan and I were just talking about it, and we'll finalize this, but we are leaning towards, provided this is like a real time, by the way, what do you think? We are leaning towards coming back in 2-3 weeks with a pretty fun topic. And oh my gosh, we're gonna have to wait on that one because guess what?
Hacker.
Look at this.
Oh, it's Devo.
Hello.
What's going on? I was about to tease Anthony with what I think we're going to talk about in a few weeks, but
Stop teasing.
Yeah. Well, you're here. You want to say a game that you played?
Sure.
What's a game you played, Ryan?
I do. Which, hi. Good.
Hi.
I saw Devo last night. They were great.
Oh, nice.
So everyone should see Devo at some point.
Put it on their bucket list, right?
This is a $60 bucket list.
Yes, that's why I said
it. Was there popcorn in that when you bought it?
No. It's just it's very difficult to dance in it because it's not really. It's literally just.
Oh, so it doesn't have like a thing on the inside to keep it on your head. It's just
those are only for the ones that the band wears.
Those were $150.
They have. Yeah. Well, they have a $200 one that's autographed by them. Anyways, Devo's awesome. Go see Devo. Okay, games. I need to rave about Imperium Horizons again.
Okay.
We brought it up on the best of 2024 games. Played it again. Love that game. It's a good one. It is. So this game is a civilization deck builder, where you'll be controlling a specific civilization. In which case, I was the Guptas. Guptas.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was that civilization, and they focus on the new element, which is the trade element that this game introduces. So I had a blast with this game. And if you like solo gaming and you like deck building, this one is a must to try. I wouldn't play it more than 2 players though, because it can drag a lot. But the solo mode's fantastic, very easy to implement. And yeah, that's Imperium Horizons.
When you play solo, do you just play against a civilization?
Yeah, you play against a civilization, and there's like basically you flip over a couple cards and you go down a chart as to what to actually do. You ignore the text on the cards based on what kind of card it is. You go down like, is it this kind of card? Nope. Okay. Is it this kind of card? Nope. Does it have this keyword? Nope. You just keep going. So yeah, highly recommend it. The other game that it's tied to as well, I also played again, which was in my top 20 of all time, and it's Star Trek Captain's Chair.
Captain's Chair.
This game is phenomenal. Top 20. Look at that score.
That is a high score with 500 plus ratings.
It is fantastic. Best Star Trek game I've ever played.
So this is the Star Trek game that Star Trek people have been waiting for?
I mean, to be
fair, that they didn't know they were missing.
to be fair, there's some pretty solid Star Trek games, you know. And this one is pretty damn fantastic. I think it does a great
what do you
job.
feel about this comment here? Like Imperium, it's a heads down game that is ideally played solo. The two-player
Correct.
experience has pacing issues. The
Correct.
production is a mixed bag. Chunky acrylic components and standees with low resolution images included.
Is that
in
Ryan's
one player.
comment?
No,
That's
It's
his
from
answer.
you
you
is
is
for unicorn.
Yeah. Do you agree with those comments
So
about the two-player experience?
it is very heads down. It is very heads down. You're not really interacting too much with the other player, and it very much is a solo experience. So if you're playing it for beyond that reason, you will be disappointed.
Mm.
But it definitely, it's and I've talked many times on the channel that I do like a good player interaction kind of game. But I also like Star Trek a lot.
You need to add some photos on here because there's no good gameplay photos at all. So I think you should go on at some point and upload. Other than they're like,
there's a valid picture. The first one, which is I think David Turcey's son is in the picture of the Where's Kirk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's his son. There he is.
Yeah, Where's Kirk?
Yeah.
No. That is Dave. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Great.
And
awesome.
the answer is likely in an expansion. Hopefully we get one.
I just like that he posted that.
Yeah, I mean,
But there is an expansion for it, isn't there? Oh no,
it's a promo card. Which this is where I bought it at that store that was like the crazy giant board game store.
The one in
Rochester.
One Rochester, right?
Yeah. And they included the promo card for me, which was nice.
That is very nice.
Very cool.
Hey, we all played Flatiron. Was Flatiron talked about in any of these?
Talk about Flatiron. No, we could talk about.
We never talked about Flatiron. That didn't come on anyone's top 24, right?
It came close for me. It was in the
I only
top
played it the one time, so
I played it twice. And I feel like it's a game that is better on the second play.
Yes.
For what it's worth.
Yeah. Similar to what I was just talking about with the White Castle. I kind of had the same initial feeling from this where
same designers too.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I feel like I kind of got my ass kicked, but it wasn't the worst experience in the world. Maybe I'll try it again. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get a better overview photo here for us so people can actually see the fact that people have got okay, this kind of shows a little bit better. Here's the thing. So with Flatiron, you've got you've got a pile of cards at each of the four streets, those intersection of the streets.
Right.
Those have different streets on them per se, but the bulk of them for each pile are going to be the street that is thereby, but they are mixed bag. What we're all trying to do in it though is build this tableau of cards underneath our board, all to empower us to build up the Flatiron building and score as many points as possible. It's definitely after you've played it and you start to understand, to your point, some of the good combos or some great things to maybe work on, that you do feel comfortable. Because my first play against you, Ryan, I was like, okay, I get it, but I feel like I messed this up. Oh, and hi, Rachel. Rachel in the house. Everyone say hi to Rachel. But I think once I got it, then when I played Anthony, I felt like you felt that.
You were the Ryan, I got I was the Chris.
But then which is the biggest problem with the game, which is that you better play someone more than once, because if you're teaching the game, you're probably going to win, which I don't say about every game. In this game, it feels like there's a very good odd of it. So,
I always felt like I was one step behind in this game where, I kind of saw what could have happened, but it was always like one step too late.
Yeah.
But again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's time dependent on future plays for me.
Yeah.
Rating this game.
And there's a balance with getting your engine going and then sacrificing parts of your engine for end game scoring point cards, because those end game scoring cards are huge. but they take up a slot that could be used in your engine. Which anytime you go on a street, you could just pile down that list of whatever cards you got.
This scratched an itch though. That is a reason I like, say, a game like Furnace, because I do like that engine building.
Also an F game. There you go.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things that it scratched that itch. But again, I did really like that choice because see if there's another one that shows the board a little more clear. But it's like when you're looking at, let's see. All right. So you're seeing it. So you can see it very clearly here. They put it above. You see the cards above, and there's the cards that can go below. The bottom line is you've got slots in the bottom and slots on the top, but you can only have those 5. So when you put those end game ones on the bottom, because you're taking all these actions in order. So for anyone looking at saying what's happening, well, if I go to that
Fifth
spot,
Ave.
Fifth Ave, I'm going to get a coin. Then the next action down is my ability to spend a coin to take that action.
Yeah, you spend 2 to put one cylinder down, but you can only do it from your warehouse of available ones. So if you have nothing there, then you can't place it down.
Which in this case, I have nothing available.
No, you do. You have the
brown,
the blue,
the brown, but I have
the green, the orange, and the white, but no brown, right?
Right, but then when I get to that next action, I can buy one or discard one. So you can buy a brown on for 2, or you can
sell it,
make some money from it. And then again, so you're putting those powerful combos together. So I really liked it. It transferred from your collection to mine, so it's still around. And I hope to get more plays of it in. But it reminded me of why I liked Furnace so much, which is a game I want to get back to the table again, because Furnace is complete engine building.
Yeah,
just complete engine building with a playmat that I always get excited about, that fits in the box very effectively. So it's little joys for me. But
I did get to play a review copy we got solo. We can talk about it further, but I could talk briefly about it right now, which is Backstories Alone Under the Ice. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are still going.
It's one word. I know, it's so confusing. It's a one word.
Backstories. We're talking about Under the Ice.
Alone Under the Ice.
Alone Under the Ice. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a one-player choose your own adventure deck of cards. And like the characters kind of look like they're from the TV show Archer. It's got that whole vibe. Look
my goodness.
Yeah.
I see it.
It's quick. I played it and I did the best that I could, and I have no desire to replay it because I played it once. I don't know if there's a lot of replay value for what it's worth. I think it's one of those like you play like an escape room kind of style game.
Yep.
Where you play one and toss it. Dan just joined, which probably means it just was put on the clearance table at his local Barnes and Noble. So he could pick that up when he can. But yeah, if you like that kind of thing where it's like a solo choose your own adventure kind of thing, it's okay.
And I this is one that we at some point are going to run on the channel. So if people want to experience this, we'll make sure we would planned on doing it, but have not had the chance yet because we had the top 20 and all that going on. So I know it's something that we'll probably run a game, and you want to check it out. We'll do it. And it might be for you. But this will be a cool chance to check it out and get that experience. That will be an interactive experience when you run it, though. So you're going to help us. And I know Amp and I have not had a chance to get it played yet. So you help us experience the game. That's what I will say.
Okay.
And and Dan was just chanting Eagles. That's all he was doing. I see it now.
And I want you to know I'm wearing a dome helmet, not a mixing bowl. It's
Yes.
not very practical to mix. It's like different layers. So.
I think he might be asking about the picture.
Oh yeah, hold on.
Because there's a bowl in the picture, not your hat.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about my hat.
Dan, please clarify.
So you could put popcorn in that, or you could put popcorn in this.
Oh my goodness
Oh my god.
gracious! This is why we're not on YouTube, kids. Just so you know.
No, you're right.
This
What the
is a
heck?
very,
I'm
this is a
kidding. You don't want to be on
legitimate
YouTube, kids. Have you ever
popcorn
watched
No,
anything
I
on
was
YouTube,
right.
kids?
I was right. He's talking about the picture.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. Hey, that was designed by Deadpool, so don't
Dan
insult.
was right.
Oh,
The
man.
popcorn buckets are getting out of control.
I was disappointed. I just want to tell people,
Oh,
not
here we
by
go.
the movie, because I liked the movie. I went to see Thunderbolts Asterix, and my disappointment was the popcorn bowl. It's a frightening popcorn bowl. I'm sorry, Arwen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was excited to see the movie, and I loved the movie, but the popcorn bowl was at the limo, and it wasn't what it could have been, which could have been Bucky's arm straight out of the dishwasher. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen, man.
So, but if anyone does want to call in, call-aboard.com. Call-aboard.com. We always love to hear from you. Let us know in the chat what games you played this month. Well, you potentially do that, Ryan. I'm going to surprise Anthony here.
Oh my goodness.
Because we talked about something. And so, Anthony, now we're doing this live on air. We talked about in, maybe 2 weeks, dropping another top 10 for Call Aboard that we think will be a lot of fun and set up some good game playing, because we want to do, and Arwen's in chat, so this is appropriate, our top 10 games that we want to play from this year's top 20 series across the board. The only rule, Ryan, what is the only rule?
Okay.
The only rule is it has to be a game you have not played yet.
Right. So it can't be on your list. Or you can, okay.
Oh.
You have never played it before.
You never played it before.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like this is a conspiracy.
Why? I better see Age's theme on someone's list.
Oh man.
Oh, I mean,
all right.
Oh my God.
And then the long-term goal is to actually follow through with the list.
I would say
we haven't thought.
Ryan's realistic.
Look, let's be real here, okay? We play what we want to play when we want to play. You know?
Yeah. So Dan says the top 10 games, the top 10 games list in top 10 years from your different top.
There you go.
Oh man.
All in 10 minutes.
All in 10 minutes. Yeah, that we'll see about that one. I will say though, yeah, I'm excited.
Rachel's correct, by the way. Technically I could have through the ages, because even I've put it on my list many times, and I've only played it digitally.
Oh jeez.
Very valid point.
Loophole.
Can I just give credit to Rachel here for just being such a good listener that she's able to point that out? Because like paying attention to how often it's been, like, kudos.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. So what we will do with that though is I'll compile the list. So the Discord, if you're not part of a Discord, definitely join our Discord. We'd love to have you there. We have a lot of fun. You're seeing some of those people here in the chat right now. We'll put that so you can easily get a sense of the games that were on that list. And we're going to take that from across all of our videos. It's not just...
Oh, the callers too.
Yeah, the callers.
Yeah.
Arwen, everyone who was on a video. So there's going to be a lot to choose from, and we're going to pick 10.
I like it.
Provided we have not played it. That is the biggest thing. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll be interested what you think about that. So you'll have some chance and then to think about that, and then hopefully call in and share the game you would want to play. And then maybe we make it happen at PAX Unplugged.
My favorite part of that list is I don't need to hound anyone for photos, because all of these items we already have.
Now pull the curtain back. Pull the curtain back on Ryan saying, "Hey, do we have a photo of this game?" Here's the thing people need to know. What Ryan usually said to me is, "Hey, can you get an overhead? Because you've got a lot of close-ups."
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris is too stylistic with his photos. Just give me the bird's eye.
It's like the Zelensky view. You know what I mean?
Oh
That's the
man.
inventor from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Hey, before we wrap this up, can I ask very important question? Is there any game for each of us that you're looking forward to trying to play in the month ahead? Anything
Yes.
that's on your mind?
Yes. I would love to play Molly House.
Ah, yes.
It just came in. I'd love to play Molly House.
You had an adventure. You were the one that didn't arrive, or the one
I was
that
one
got
in
damaged?
528 or whatever, where Amazon lost their package and and wasn't paying Whirligig Games. But yeah, I would love to play Molly House with you all.
Love it.
This looks like a blast.
No, I dig
Which
it.
I think it's we be 19th century Mollies. So I'm in.
I'm down. Anthony, anything come to mind?
Well, I have a Kickstarter that should be coming too that involves Wine Cellar, which Arwen just mentioned.
Oh, yes.
And Big Sur. There was 4 games altogether. Here it is. Sand Art and Grand Central Skyport. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I like this whole Kickstarter with multiple games in it. You know, you feel like you're getting a little more for your value. And that that Wine Cellar game is designed by Andrew Stiles. That's his first game, and we do have planning on having him on Creators Corner hopefully next month. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah, and I know Arwen has covered this as well. Wine Cellar. I've seen some. I don't know if Arwen. I apologize. I don't know if you covered it specifically, but I know I've seen you post photos of it. So I will say that much. But yeah, that is that one. And then I am looking forward to, and it will probably happen within the next few days. I am finally going to play Kelp. I have been itching to play Kelp. And I've learned the game. I know how to play it. It's Kelp, Shark First, Octopus. I bought this at PAX Unplugged.
I thought you played this already.
I don't count what I did, because what I did was I set up a game and I just played against myself in the sense of like pretending to do the turns just to get the gameplay. I didn't really truly play it. I just did like a for myself. So yeah, Kelp is what I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, this person wrote it, put it right myself, but card play, dice, asymmetric style, it's down my path.
Can I be the shark?
Say that again.
Can I call shark?
Yeah, you can call shark.
All right.
You could be a shark. But yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to. Let's see. Arwen, by the way, pointing out from this game's month, Wine Cellar, Diatoms, which I'm dying to play after that conversation that I got to have. Kinfire Dell, 52 Realms Adventures were my tops. 52 Realms mentioned earlier, really candidly great game. $5 to buy that game. It's totally worth it.
I gotta run up, y'all.
All right.
Toodles.
Salutations, sir. Rachel pointing out Apiary for the month ahead. Marcel, 23 Knives. I know I'll be seeing Marcel, so we might be making that magic happen.
Better watch your back.
Yeah. And Dan asking if he can be seaweed.
Dan, you could be anything you want to be.
I mean, yeah, go for it. Appreciate it though. Looks like we've got some good things to be excited about. I will say this, like Anthony mentioned, Andrew hopefully be on Creators Corner. We're working on that. We'll let you know what's coming up in the week ahead. But ideally in 2 weeks, we'll be back with our top 10 games we want to play from the top 20 series. It's a mouthful, but I didn't say we marketed this name. We literally had the marketing conversation here right on the channel. So, It is what it is, right?
Live brainstorming session.
Live brainstorming session. Thank you, everybody, though. And if you are watching this video and you're watching it after the fact, or you just couldn't think about it in the moment, please share the games you played this month with us and let us know. We would love to hear about the games that you played last month, and let us know a game that you're looking to play later this month, something you're excited to play. We've mentioned this before, but I'm just going to say it now. We are very focused this summer on getting games to the table that just deserve to get to the table. Don't matter if they're from 2025 or 2005. We are playing games this summer. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things, playing a lot of fun games, and we're going to bring some classics to the table in the process. So stay tuned for that with us. And with that, I wanted to say thanks to everyone for coming aboard the Tabletop Express. As always, it's wonderful to have you here in our community. Please join the Discord. And with that, thanks for coming aboard, everybody.